Serious, what is the creepiest thing you have experienced that you still think about to this day? Please subscribe, leave a like, comment and share the video to help the channel. When I was about 8 or 9, my mom's friends took us to see the puppy they were going to buy. The owner offered us to walk the parent dogs, 2 Rottweilers. I remember their names till this day. They were super friendly and walked off leash with the 2 kids of my mom's friend and myself. When we arrived in a grassy area surrounded by trees, a tall guy approached us. He grabbed my shoulder and the dogs went completely nuts. I remember he had a mirror and tried shining light into the dog's eyes. The mother dog stayed circling me while I ran to the house and the other dog chased after this guy until he was gone. It was terrifying, but what really stands by me is that those dogs didn't know me from before, yet they protected me and my friends as if their lives depended on it. On a family vacation, when I was a kid, renting a beach condo, the unit next door was a regular residence and we met the family, nice people. They were leaving at the end of the week for their own trip, but the daughter had to work one more overnight shift as a nurse. The dad and the younger kids left that day and the mother and daughter were going to leave the next morning and catch up with them. That morning, as we were packing up our own stuff to go home, we started hearing sirens out on the road in front of the condos. There were several emergency vehicles outside, and eventually an air revoc helicopter landed on the road and took off with a gurney rolled out of the unit next to us. A while later, we got the story. The daughter had come home from her shift and found the mother beaten to death with a hammer or something similar. We hadn't heard or seen anything, even though we shared a wall. The creepiest part was that the officers found that the killer had accessed the house by the back porch door, facing the beach. The bedroom me and my brothers were sleeping in was down on the ground floor, with the same porch door leading out to the beach, only a few feet away from that same door and only separated by a waist-high rail. Talking about it later, we weren't even sure we had locked the door that night. My wife and I went to CreepyCon in Knoxville this year to listen to one of our friends give a panel. On our last day in town, we were meeting up with one of my wife's cousins for brunch. We are parking in a lot across the street when a guy walks up to me. He was trying to tell me to park on some side street because it was free, but my wife was already at the pay machine. Plus, I had already parked and really didn't want to risk a ticket on the word of a stranger. Well, he didn't really care about where we were parking. He just wanted to make some money. He had something he wanted to sell me and pulled a knife out. I stepped back and looked at my wife, who stayed back. "Don't worry, man, I'm not going to stab you. Do you want to buy this knife?" I told him that I didn't really want a knife and that we didn't carry cash. In his defense, he didn't stab me. Not sure if it's that creepy, but still kind of scares me to this day. I used to live in a very small apartment with my grandparents, uncle and his girlfriend. One night I was staying in their room to rest up, which was something I was doing frequently at that time. I remember I was laying on the floor while both my uncle and his girlfriend were on their bed besides me. After a few minutes, it eventually turned into us not being able to sleep, so we were fooling around in the dark. I don't remember exactly what game we were playing, but it consisted of me crawling around the floor and popping up and scaring them. Can't remember if I scared them or not, but I suddenly had to use the bathroom. I literally got up right in front of them and opened their bedroom door to walk out. I was in the bathroom for a while. I come back and open the door and my uncle and aunt were sitting on the bed, both doing a frantic double take. My uncle blurted, "What the hell?" while my aunt was like, "Weren't you on the floor just now?" I told them I had left a while ago and that I was in the bathroom the whole time. They said that they didn't even see or hear me open the door to leave, which creaked very loudly. I switched the lights on and they couldn't believe that I wasn't actually on the floor. After a few minutes, they told me that they could have sworn I was on the floor. They both said they heard someone giggling on the floor and that they even heard the creaking sounds that it made. Every once in a while, we talk about what happened that night and we still haven't come up with an explanation. Edit, JFC. So many people are pointing out the fooling around part, but I can assure you, it wasn't like that, lol. But now I'm kind of paranoid because I've said the phrase fooling around many times before in a non-sexual way, and I wonder how many people thought differently. when me and my mom moved to a new house. She had some redecorating to do. One of the things she wanted to change was to get some new curtains for our bathroom. The curtains in there were torn, dirty, brown and just ugly AF. So she bought some new curtains. As she is quite short, she can't reach our attic, which is where she wanted to store the old curtains. It was rented, so we couldn't throw them away. So I put the curtains into a box, then put them into the attic. The new curtains went up. All is good. The next day, when I come home from school, the horrible dirty curtains are back up in the bathroom. New curtains are nowhere to be seen. I asked my mom why she had changed the curtains back over. She was terrified, had no idea how it happened. Still bothers me to this day. So, I was about 12 at the time, and it was around 2 AM one day, and I was playing CS with friends. We're in a call as I hear a door slam, and it was quite a loud one, loud enough for me to hear through my headphones. I was freaked, and just froze in my chair, and took off my headphones, and then I heard footsteps. I was sure someone broke in or something, but I was too afraid to get out of my room. Everything was silent after a few seconds, and there was no one in our house. The door was locked as it was before, and it seemed like everything was back to normal, so I tell my friends I'm logging off, and I tried to go to sleep. It took me ages before I could fall asleep, but eventually I did. The next morning, I tell my mom about what happened. Her face went white. She told me she had dreamed about my dad, and she told me the dream. He came to our house, slammed the door, and woke her up with the sound of the slam. She was so excited to see him, and she hugged him, and kissed him, and they went into my room, where they saw me playing video games, and my dad told her that I grew up so much, and was really happy to see me. He taught me how to play CS when I was like 5-ish years old. My dad has passed away when I was 6. Heart failure. It's still creeping me out to this day. Was shopping with my father and got in line to check out when he realized he forgot something and went to grab it. My 2-year-old daughter was looking at the candy when a man got in line behind me and said to my daughter, "Don't wander away from mom or someone like me will snatch you." He didn't say someone would snatch you. He said me. I grabbed my daughter and put her in the cart, and he just stood there staring at her. I was about to leave when my father showed up, and this man said, "Oh, you've got a big guy with you," got out of line and left. I felt for sure his plan was to try and take her. When we got in the parking lot, I think my 6'4" father made him rethink it. I still think about that creepy guy. Edit typo. Doing acid during the zombie walk in college around Halloween time, which I had forgotten was happening until I hit the main street. That was a surprise to be sure. But the creepiest real life thing was last August when I was scammed. I got a text from someone claiming to be my neighbor I hadn't heard from in years. They said they were in need of money and nobody was helping them, blah blah blah, sob story. I knew they were bullshitting me, but they knew my neighbor and I's home addresses. So I tried to pry and lead them on to get more info for the authorities, but without revealing any more info. This fact that they knew where we lived disturbed me. They wanted to meet somewhere in DC, so I could give them money. I jokingly said I was currently in DC and said we should meet. We had a time to meet up. I called the number and it said it was a Text Now subscriber. I finally asked them why they were using a Text Now account, and they came clean and said they were just fucking with me. There was a thunderstorm soon after which knocked out my cell service. When I got it back, I found that someone in Minnesota had used my debit card info to buy over $1,000 of stuff from Kohl's, Best Buy, and an Uber ride. All this happened within about 4 hours. I'm 90% sure this was the same person, but I don't know what their angle was with actually meeting up. Was it a decoy to distract me? Was it 2 separate incidents and I could have been kidnapped? I don't know. I filed a police report. When I was about 13 to 14, my sister, best friend and me were being stalked by someone. They took pictures of us without our knowledge and sent it to us on Snapchat. The person knew our bra sizes, where we lived, and what we did every minute of every day. We would all get 5 to 10 messages on Snapchat, and every time we blocked the person, they just found another way to contact us, make profiles that we thought were our friends, sending Snapchat to our friends telling them to show us ECT. We called the police, but they told us they could do nothing. It just slowly died down. but we never found out who it was. It went on for a solid year, but it was probably just one of our friends messing with us. I'm 20 now, and I still think about it. About a year ago I was visiting my parents, and my boss told me he needed me for a shift. So I woke up at 4 AM and was rubbing my parents' cat when I look up and see a woman wearing flowery pants watching me. I just stare at it as it turns around and walks away. I then rubbed my eyes and it disappeared. Maybe I was just tired or had one too many cinnamon rolls, but still makes me wonder. Please subscribe, leave a like, comment and share the video to help the channel.